Good morning, my friends. It is Wednesday, April 22nd. Today we are on Zearn Lesson 8. That is ones, tenths, hundredths. Oh my. I hope you guys are having a great start to your week. If you've done anything fun on Monday or Tuesday, anything new, if you started any projects, made any songs, done any artwork, shoot me an email. Let me know. I love to hear about what you guys are doing. It keeps me entertained. It keeps me interested. And it lets me know that you guys are doing really, really well at home. So today, we're on lesson 8, like I said before, which means you had to have finished lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in order to get to 8. Now, I went back and I graded a lot of your work over the past couple days. Under each assignment, check your private messages. You'll see your grade and you'll see some comments from me. I needed to see that you did your dream box. I needed to see that you completed your Zearn lesson, and I needed to see that you completed your exit ticket on Edge Elastic. So if you haven't and you have a 0 for your score, that means you need to go back and complete some of the parts that you're missing. Read my instructions carefully, and once you're caught up, I'll get a report back, and then I'll go ahead and grade it for you guys. Today, we're going to pick it up. Our objective for lesson 8 is to use understanding of fraction equivalence to investigate decimal numbers on the place value chart expressed in different units. And our units today, as the title alludes to, are ones, tenths, and hundredths. If we look back at our place value chart, we can see these different units here. We have our ones, our tenths, and our hundredths. We're going to work more on converting fractions and decimals into unit form, and decomposing a number from one form and making it into another form. All right, my friends, let's get right into it. Once again, you are responsible for your number gym and your sprint. I will be going over the Learning Lab and the Tower of Power with you today, and then I might actually go into the exit ticket and give you some hints too. So I would stay for the end of this video. Let's jump right in to the Learning Lab. We'll go ahead and get signed in here. All right, my friends. So to start, you're going to want to click this arrow right here, facing to the right. Remember, right hand, left hand, make sure that you have your sides, your left and your right sides in your mind are correct, because you're going to see that sometimes in these lessons. All right, let's warm up here. Our question is, let's use a place value chart to find how many tenths are equal to 1, 1, and 3 tenths. To start, we're going to show 1, 1, and 3 tenths on the place value chart. So 1, 1 means in my ones place, I need to have one of them. Boom. Notice what I did. I clicked the addition button and 1 popped up, 1 disc. How many tenths should I put? What do you guys think? If you said 3, I think that you are correct. Excellent job. All right, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Decompose 1, 1 to show 1, 1, 3 tenths using only tenths. So here's what we're going to do. What they mean by this, decompose, is they mean take a bigger place here. So our 1 disc, and turn this 1 into a tenth or into multiple tenths. So what I can do is I can take it, I pressed it, I clicked on it and held it, and now I can move it. So I'm going to take my 1, 1, and I'm going to bring that 1 into the tenths place. Now, what do y'all think? How many tenths will this 1, 1 turn into? I want you to take a guess. Say it out loud. Now, let's see if you were correct. Our 1, 1 turned into 10 tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's because 10 tenths is the same as 1 whole. 1.0. I'm not allowed to have 10 tenths here, though. I have to move 1 over to my ones place. We're going to practice that in a couple slides. Let's keep moving. Nice work. All right. This time, how many tenths equals 1, 1, and 3 tenths? So how many tenths do I have now? I moved my 1 over, so my 1, 1 turned into 10 tenths. How many total tenths do I have? Well, let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 tenths. What similarities do you notice about this? They're equivalent, but what similarities do you notice? Well, I notice our 1 is now the 1 in 13. Our 3 is now the ones place. Okay, so 13 tenths is 1, 1, and 3 tenths. Nice work. Let's try another one. How many hundredths are equivalent to 2 tenths? So here we have 2 tenths. I want to turn these into hundredths. Now these won't let me move them, but we know if I turned a 1 into tenths, I had to use 10 of them. So if I turn a tenth into hundredths, I have to use 10 of these. Okay, so I need 10 more here to equal each one. So if I have 2 tenths, that'll be 20 hundredths. And I'll just draw it in since they won't let us. We'll do it in blue. So I can take my 1/10, I cross it out here, and I can put it in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are equal to each other. I just decompose it into smaller pieces. We'll do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my 2 tenths I turned into 20 hundredths. Look how beautiful my artwork is. I know, I'm Picasso. Picasso Prada. All right, let's keep moving. All right, my friends. Let's clear up our screen here. Let's show 2 tenths and 20 hundredths on area models. First, we're going to start with 2 tenths. 2, uno, dos. Okay, our whole is broken up into 10 pieces or 10 units. We need 2 of them. That'll be 2 tenths. 1, 2. 2 out of 10. Enter. You got it. Nice work. Now, we're going to do the same thing, but instead of 2 tenths, we're going to represent it as 20 hundredths. Here, our whole is broken into 100 units or hundredths. Let's count 20 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boom, 10. So if this is 10 hundredths, I need 10 more. So we had our 2 tenths or our 20 hundredths. They're the exact same thing. One's decomposed into smaller units, so we need more of them. Okay, here's our 2 tenths. Our 2 tenths here. Here's our 20 hundredths. Do both area models show the same value? Think about it. Do both show the same value? Yeah, I see Jasmine thinking about it back there. I agree, Jasmine. They do represent the same value. And they do because the same amount of space or units are shaded. Okay, we have 2 out of 10 here and 20 out of 100 here, but they equal the same amount of space. Nice work.
2 tenths takes up the same amount.
As always, my friends, you are watching these videos. These videos are critical to understanding these concepts. Watch them once, watch them twice, watch them 3 times. Pause it in between. Get this down pat. Okay? I'm going to skip ahead to the next question set. I'll see y'all in a second.
Amount of space.
All right, we're back in it, my friends.
2 tenths takes up the same amount of space as 20.
Okay, so our question here, represent each value as a fraction using tenths and hundredths. Okay, here are our numbers. They're the exact same, just written with different units. So if we have 2/10, I need 2/10. 2 out of what? You guessed it, 10. Nice work. Now, down here, we want to represent 20 hundredths. So how many hundredths do I need? We're working with hundredths. How many do I need? If you said 20 or thought 20, you were correct. These fractions are the exact same. The exact same. They are equivalent. Now, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to write our value as a decimal number. So here are our choices. We have 2/10. We know it's the same as 20 hundredths. How do we write both? Let's go to our place value chart. Let's erase what we had. All right, our two fractions. We had 2/10. That equals, we'll do a different color here. We'll do green. 20 hundredths. All right, let's put our tenths in first. I'll do it on this top row here. 2/10. No ones, because there's nothing in front. No whole numbers. And then we have 2/10. 0.2. Now for 20 hundredths, we'll do that below. Again, there's no whole number in front. I can't put 20 in my hundredths place. I'm not allowed to because the digit's too large. I can only have one digit here. So we're going to keep our 0 here. And we're going to move our 2 right here. Now, these are the exact same. The only difference is I had to put a 0 in my hundredths place. If I wanted to, I could put a 0 here too. I'm allowed to put zeros in smaller decimal places. There are free zeros. They're the exact same. So for this problem, though, we'll erase this, and we have our 2/10 and 20 hundredths. They equal each other. Let's plug them in. 2/10, 0.2, 20 hundredths, 0.20. Excellent work.
2/10 equals 20 hundredths.
I'll see y'all in a second.
And we could represent.
Okay, so now we're diving into the meat of our lesson here. What decimal number represents this area model? I want you to think about what decimal represents it and why. Think about your whole here and think about your fraction or your decimal here. Well, we have one whole, so I know there needs to be a 1 in my ones place. And I have 2/10 here, so there needs to be a 2 in my tenths place. Which one of our answers has a 1 in our ones place and a 2 in our tenths place? Well, there's a 2 in our ones place here. There's a 0 in our ones place here. There's a 1 in our ones place here. And a 2 in our tenths place. Let's click it. 1.2. Excellent. One whole and 2/10. 1.2. Let's write it as a mixed number. Again, we know we need one whole and 2/10. No, we don't have one whole here. We do have one whole here and one whole here. But do we have 2/10 here or here? I think we have 2/10 here. 1 and 2/10, 1 and 2/10. Excellent work. All right, how many total tenths? Well, this is a little bit harder, and what I'm going to do is I want to show you this in our place value chart. We're going to use 1.2. So the way you do unit form is you plug in your decimal 1.2 and then read the entire thing. What's our number here? This is for just unit form. We have 12. And then go to your last place and read the units. 12 tenths. Say it with me, y'all. 12 tenths. All right, so 1.2 equals 12/10. They are the exact same thing. We have our standard form, which is just decimal form, and then our unit form over to the right. Let's plug it in. Oh, and here's our option here, 12/10. Let's plug it right in. Great job. All right, now we have to do hundredths, okay? It's a little bit weird here, though, because in our decimal, we only have our tenths place filled. So what do we do? How many hundredths could we possibly have? I'd like you to try to answer this, one of these three answers, and see if your answer is correct. Pause the video now. I'll tell you in a second how to solve this. All right, my friends. So let's do this. Let's use what we have here. So it's all set up for us. So we're working with 1.2. We already have it filled in, but this time they want to know how many tenths, or how many hundredths, I'm sorry. How many hundredths? Hundredths equals 1.2. Well, I need to fill in my place value chart so that my hundredth place is filled. But I don't have any hundredths here. So if I don't have any hundredths, I can always add a 0 to the back of my last decimal place. The back of my last decimal place. So 1.2 is the same as 1.20. They are the exact same value. And now we can read the entire number. 120 hundredths. 120 hundredths. Say it with me. 120 hundredths. One more time. 120 hundredths. When we do unit form, we don't have to say our decimal. 120 hundredths. I could even put a 0 on my decimal here just to make sure it's even. 1.20 is the same as 120 hundredths. All right, let's fill it in. 120 hundredths. Notice I end with my hundredths place. And you will definitely have to do one of these on your exit ticket. We'll go over it in a second after we get through our Zearn material. We'll go over it. But start to lock this in, okay? You have to know the difference between your tenths, your first decimal place, and your hundredths, your second decimal place. Nice work. All right, which other decimal number is also equivalent to this model? So we know it's 1.2, and we just learned that 1.2 is the same as 1.20. The only difference is I put an extra 0 in my hundredths place. I'm allowed to. It's free. It's after my last decimal place. Nice work. And just like we learned back here, 1.2 is the same as 1.20. That 0 on the back of my last decimal place is free. Nice work.
How do you know that 1 and 2?
This video here is crucial. Make sure you're watching it completely through. I will see y'all in a second.
Is equal to 1.
All right, y'all. Let's try another one. Which decimal numbers are represented by this area model? All right, so 2 of these numbers are correct. That means 2 of them are false. Here, how many holes do we have? How many whole area models do we have? I'm counting 1, 2. So that means we have 2 in our ones place. 2 holes. And what's our fraction here? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of how many? 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4/10. So that's 2 and 4/10. 2.4. But we know that's the same as 2.40. Zeros are free on the back. These are the exact same numbers. They are equivalent. They equal each other. So 2.4. 2 wholes, 4/10. 2 wholes, 4/10. 2 wholes, 4/10. Why is this wrong? Is this 4/10? No, it's not. Nice job. This is 4/100ths. This would have to be broken up into 100 pieces with only 4 little boxes filled in for it to actually match this. So our answers are 2.4 and 2.40. Good work. How many tenths are represented by this area model? How many tenths are represented? Well, we have it plugged in, 2.4, okay? So let's use our top one. 2.4, remember, for unit form, here's our decimal form, 2.4. For unit form, I want to know how many tenths there are. How many tenths? Just count them. How many? 24. Forget the decimal for unit form. You don't need it for unit form. 24, and then what's our place? Tenths. 24 tenths. Say it with me. 24 tenths. Nice work. Let's plug it in and see if it's correct. I think it is. Woo! Good job. See, now this doesn't make sense. We just did 2.4 in tenths, which made sense because we had a tenths place. But here, they want us to do our unit form in hundredths, a different unit. We don't have any hundredths. What can I put on the back to give me my total number of hundredths? What can we put in our second decimal place? Let's come to our chart. We don't want tenths anymore. We want hundredths. So we don't have any hundredths, so we have to fill it in. What can I fill this in with? There's nothing there. So what can I fill that in with so that it'll give me hundredths? Well, zeros are free on the back of our last decimal. So now I have 240 hundredths. 240 hundredths. Let's plug it in. 240 hundredths. Before we do so, I want you to say it with me. 240 hundredths. 240 hundredths. These are the same thing. I just added that free zero in my hundredths place, and I read the entire number with it. Let's plug it in. No decimal needed because it's unit form. 240 hundredths. Nice job.
Great effort so far. You've shown equivalence between ones, tenths, and hundredths. Are you ready for your next challenge?
Oh, we're ready. Let's do it. Let's decompose the units. This word decompose, all that means is to break down or divide into smaller pieces. I want everybody to say that. Divide into smaller pieces. Decompose. One more time. Decompose. Nice job. All right, how many tenths? I love the place value chart. Let's plug it in. I think it was 2.7 if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So 2 ones, 7 tenths. They wanted us to name how many tenths there were. So I have 27 tenths. Notice what I did. I read the whole number. 27 tenths. That equals 2 27 tenths. Excellent job. Good work. Oh, now they want us to do hundredths. 5.1 equals how many hundredths? I think on your exit ticket, you're going to have 5.3. So really pay attention to this problem. This is 5.1. Okay, so let's plug our 5.1 in. Five. 0.1. All right, and they wanted us to list how many hundredths that equals. Well, we don't have enough hundredths here. We have 5.1 tenths, 51 tenths. I want hundredths. So what do I fill this hundredths place with? If you said 0, you were correct. Let's read it together. 510 hundredths. What is it, friends? 510 hundredths. Very good. I could say 51 tenths, or I could say 510 hundredths. Nice job. All right, my friends, let's practice in the Tower of Power. This is where we're really going to cement this idea into our database, our math minds. So we want to make sure after Learning Lab, we're going right to Tower of Power. We're still in Lesson 8. Let's dive in. Shade 68 hundredths of a meter. Wow, 68 hundredths, that's a lot. This looks like so this is representing 1 meter. We know meters can be broken into tenths. These are the big blocks, or into hundredths. These are the small blocks. We want to shade 68 of them. These big arrows shade 10 at a time. Let's do it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. They want 68 though. 70 is too much. We only need 8 more. There's 868 shaded in. Correctamundo. Nice work. All right. Complete the number bond, pulling out tenths from the hundredths. All right, let's pull out tenths from hundredths. Look at this here. We have 68 hundredths. Okay. Let me write it over here. I think it'll be better in the place value chart if I show you. 68 hundredths. I can't put 68 here. I'm not allowed to just put it here. So I put the 6 here in my tenths place and the 8 here. This equals 68 hundredths. That means we have 6 tenths and 8 hundredths. 6 tenths and 8 hundredths. Let's fill it in. 6 tenths and 8 hundredths. Excellent work. Nice job. All right, if I want to do this as a decimal, well, it's already done for us. 68 hundredths. We filled it in. Let's put our 0 here. We don't have any whole numbers. 68 hundredths is 0.68. That's our decimal form. 0.68. Great job. All right, we're done our first section. On to section 2. How many tenths are equivalent to 1, 1, and 2 tenths? So remember what we did before. I want you to try to answer this on your own. 1, 1, and 2 tenths. If you want, you can use a place value chart. That's fine. 1, 1. I'm plugging in my 1, 1 and my 2 tenths. So read that. What number does that say total? How many tenths do we have? Read that number. How many tenths? If you said that we had 12 total tenths, I think that you are correct. Excellent job. Another way to look at this, I can turn my 1, 1 into 10 more tenths. So this comes over here. See ya, it's gone from here. And I can add 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that gives me 12 tenths. These are little baby tenths, but they still count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nice job. How many hundredths now? So 2 tenths equals how many hundredths? Let's plug it in. 2 tenths. Well, I don't have any hundredths here when I plug it in. No ones, 2 tenths. So if I don't have any hundredths, what number can I put here to represent hundredths? If you said 20, you are correct, or 0 rather. So 0.20, read your number. You can just read starting here. That says 20. 20 in our last place, hundredths. 20 hundredths. Remember, to decompose, I can always take a larger place, a larger unit, and decompose it into 10 of the next smallest unit. So this 1/10 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this 1/10 also equals 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hundredths, 10 hundredths. I add them together. That gives me 20 hundredths equals 2 tenths. Exact same thing. Another really cool way to think about it. Oh, we'll skip that for a second. That'll be for a future lesson. Nice work. Let's keep climbing. Okay, how many tenths, questions up here, how many tenths and hundredths are represented in the area model? All right, first, which decimal is represented by the area model? Here's our area model. How many holes? And what's our fraction here? Looks like we have 2 holes and 2 tenths. Two holes and 2 tenths, 2.2. Let's see if that's one of our choices. Yes, it is. 2 holes and 2 tenths. Nice job. All right, how many tenths are in 2.2? All right, 2.2. Let's see. I know I have 22 and I have my tenths filled. Let's plug that in over here. So let's read it all. Let's read our number like it's a whole number. 22 tenths. 22 tenths. Nice job. Try to answer this one on your own. This time they want 2.2, same number, but they want it listed as hundredths. So we have to decompose it even further. What can I do to represent this as hundredths? What do I need to fill my hundredths place with? Go ahead and fill it in or take a guess. If you said 0, you're correct. So we have 220 hundredths. Say it with me. 220 hundredths. Very nice. 220 hundredths. Good work. Try this one on your own. Look at the number. Think about your first place. That's your 10th place. How many do you have? Read that whole thing without the decimal. If you said 27, you were correct. Now, for hundredths, here we have 4.8. I'm going to rewrite it. 4.8. All right, we have ones. We have tenths. I don't have any hundredths, though. What can I add to my hundredths place? If you said 0, you were correct. Read that whole number without the decimal. Pretend it's not there. 480 hundredths. That's our hundredths place. 480 hundredths. Good job, my friends. Way to go. All right, let's shoot on over to our exit ticket. I'll see you in 1 second. All right, my friends. So for your exit ticket, you will have 3 questions. Some have multiple parts. For question 1, which decimal is less than the fraction shaded in the grid below? Here, you have hundredths. Not tenths, hundredths. How many are shaded? You need to put the number that's less than what's shaded. All right. So make sure you fill in what's shaded, and then you're answering with the number that's less than what's shaded. Only one of these is less. For our second question, this is what I really want to go over. Make sure to complete Zearn Lesson 8 before starting this exit ticket. That's key. Do the Zearn lesson first. You'll have a lot of knowledge and practice before you get into this. Let's decompose the units to represent each number as tenths. Here we have 1. They want it listed as tenths, but we don't have any tenths. So what can I put in this decimal place? There's nothing there now. What number represents nothing? If you said 0, you are correct. That is 10 tenths. 10 tenths. All right. If it was 1.3, let's change this to 3. This is for C. How many tenths do I have? Read the whole number. 13 tenths. Notice for my unit form, I do not put a decimal point. I don't need it. That's only for my decimal form. All right. So those are some helpful hints for number 2. For number 3, you're going to start by thinking about 5.3. 5 ones, 0.3. All right. How many tenths do you have? And then if I want hundredths, what do I have to put here in order to find how many hundredths I have? All right. You might want to think about what number equals this empty space. What can I fill that back decimal place with? All right, my friends, I hope that was helpful. If you're having trouble, reach out to me. I'm really proud of all the work you're doing. I'm excited for our Zoom call tomorrow. Enjoy James and the Giant Peach. We'll have more books for you. If you have any cool videos you want posted to the YouTube channel, send them on in. We'll check them out, and if they're appropriate, we will post them. All right, have a great day. I'll see y'all next time.